Don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my being. Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear viewers, to our next episode of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma, and today we'll be talking about the significance of education, the importance of education. As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon one can use to change the world. So as change makers and as people that hope to make the world a better place, how can we seek to ascertain education and use it for the betterment of ourselves and the betterment of society? We want to begin by introducing our guests. To my right, we have Brother Yasir, all the way from Skandariya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please tell us about yourself, Brother Yasir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Yasir al-Ashqar. I'm from Alexandria, just like Brother Yusuf just mentioned. I'm half Moroccan. So some say like half vampire, half lichen, you know, these kind of stuff. So I'm done with my bachelor now, Bachelor of Commerce, and I'm going for a master's, and hopefully I'll be, you know, over it pretty soon. So inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala. And then you gotta get the PhD.
Hopefully, inshallah.
Okay,
you know,
inshallah.
if Allah gave us,
Ihsan, you always want the best,
yeah,
inshallah.
of course, inshallah.
Speaking of education, right?
Of course, you know, and thank you for hosting us today.
Alhamdulillah, it's always my pleasure. Next is a brother right here. He's a young scholar in the making, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as well. Hamid Sharif, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Please tell us a bit about yourself, Hamid.
My name is Hamid Sharif, as you mentioned. I've been living in Egypt for a few years, from the year 2010 to 14, studying Quran and Arabic and other sciences. I'm trying to apply to the Azhar, so you know, just keep us in your dua.
Inshallah ta'ala, definitely. It's always a pleasure to have you, Brother
Thank
Hamid.
you for having me again.
Next we have the veteran on the show who's looking pretty fly today in his orange tie, mashallah. He told me that was the best knot that he has in his tie. Brother Idris Tawfiq, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, today is a homage to how beautiful and wonderful you always look. So I said, maybe I should try to be a reflection of him today.
Alhamdulillah. You did it better than me today, so don't do it next week. Inshallah. Next we have a brother, this is his first time on the show, very inspirational brother. He inspired us on the way over here today. Brother Mahmoud Naji. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Nice to meet you. Assalamu
Likewise.
alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Mahmoud Naguib. I'm an English instructor and translator. I've been teaching English for more than 8 years, including different courses and academies in different places. And it's my pleasure to be here with you, discussing the importance of education. It's a really interesting topic. Thank you so much.
Okay. So bismillah, let's get directly into the topic. The first question we have here is, what constitutes as education, or what constitutes as knowledge, and how do we qualify the term when we're speaking about knowledge and education? What precisely are we talking about?
Well, generally speaking, we can say we can define ilm, which is information. You know, simple as that. You know, new information that has never been passed through. You know, you never had an idea. Mostly, it's you know, we can divide it to two parts or sides. One is religiously, of course, and the other one is scientifically.
Okay.
You know, but you know, the problem is there's a contradiction between the both nowadays, because you know, scientists say they say it's not related to religion, just like you said. You know, the last episode about this atheist who said, you know, oh my God, you know, I'd love you to say it, you know. So, you know, they deny it, but eventually it is 100% related, because it's a proof that God exists, you know. So you always have to get it back to its original, you know, material, which is religiously, of course, you know.
Okay.
So ilm, you know, just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, when He first created Adam, He said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. You know, so Adam, if Allah didn't taught him these words, you know, these vocabularies, the new vocabularies, we would never have had it nowadays, you know. So, so that's ilm, you know, the knowledge of the terms, you know, the terminologies or the vocabularies of, you know, simple as that. It's a start. That's it.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Brother Hamid?
No, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just to piggyback a little bit off what the brother said, you know, knowledge is, you know, information. Information and experience and incidents that takes you from a state of unknowing, ignorance, to a state of knowing and clarity.
Okay.
And this can come in, you know, many different forms. For example, if you enter a classroom and, you know, you hear new information, whatever new information you come out of that classroom with, that's considered to be knowledge.
Okay.
Or if you have a encounter with an individual and within this conversation, you pick up new things that you never knew before.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's knowledge and that's education. And for like a child, a toddler, you know, growing up in his house since birth, you know, he was only exposed to seeing certain people in the household, the mother, the father, and other siblings. And then when he reaches a certain age, and when he goes outside, he sees strangers. So you may see that he may stare and stuff like that. And the mother would teach him, don't do that, don't stare, don't look at people. And as he grows older, he'll always remember, okay, my mother taught me not to do this. That's a form of education and knowledge for me. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Here on the show, we don't say piggyback, we say turkey back. Okay. Corny joke, right?
Noted,
okay.
noted.
Brother Idris.
I just wanted to touch on what they were saying, and generally speaking, just sort of adding what they were saying is that, you know, ilm is a interesting word, because in Arabic it has a much more stronger and broader connotation than it's translated as being education or knowledge, because ilm encompasses all of this. Where in the West, if you say education, the first thing you think of is information.
Sure.
But ilm is more than information. Ilm is it's all-encompassing. Like I said, it includes the deen, includes you know, any other science, any other learning besides just deen. It's not just deen only. This is something that's sort of different looking at it from the West. Like generally speaking, you can break it into deen. You know, learning how to pray, learning how to fast, learning these things that you must learn, you should learn, and are often belittled, but they're often just as important as learning, going to school. I mean, you'll find a doctor who doesn't know how to pray. I mean, imagine that. He spent years and years memorizing anatomy, but he doesn't even know how to pray to his Lord. So this goes to show you the importance of this other type of, you know, deen. You don't have to be a scholar, but you need to know certain things about your religion and how to worship your Lord. This is something that's a minimum. And the other one is like we mentioned, the doctor, this is something that, and why is he a doctor? Not for selfish reason, because the community requires it. So ilm is for yourself in deen and your behavior, and also for the community's benefit. And of course, of going into it more details, you can break it apart in different categories in different ways. But generally speaking, I think it's something that the West sees different than the Muslim world historically. Historically, we've had a different idea of what ilm is.
Okay. And that just for Brother Yasser, that's the next question we're coming to. Are there distinctions between secular knowledge and Islamic knowledge? Are the two intertwined? Is there a point where they actually meet? We're going to come to you with that question next. Brother Mahmoud?
Okay, peace. First of all, I just want to tell you something. I just want to give a simple definition for the word education. Education can be not just a process of giving and receiving information for students in a university, for example, or in just a school. It's or not just giving and sending experience for each other. It goes beyond this. I can say education is a process of building a character for students and for people, and also not just building character. I can say education, not exchanging knowledge together, and knowledge not just come from books and information. It's something really interesting. Our Islam has stressed, and the Holy Quran has stressed from the very beginning on learning and seeking for knowledge. If you see the revelation when it comes to our Prophet Muhammad, the first word it says, read. So this is, I can say this is an invitation for knowledge, for learning, and for this. So also, in the Holy Quran, there are some verses that stresses on this. Like, for example, if I say wisdom, those who seek wisdom, Allah grants people who seek wisdom, and this is so important for us for knowledge. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Now go to the next question, Brother Yasser. there are many who make a distinction between secular knowledge and Islamic knowledge, as Brother Idris was just making a distinction between the two. So is there an actual distinction between the two? Are the two intertwined? And is there a point where secular knowledge and Islam meets?
Well, first of all, I'd like you to take you guys back to Adam's time. Peace and blessings be upon him. When he first, when Allah created him and put him in heaven, and then he took him out of heaven after he took the apple, and he broke his oath with Allah. So when he went down on earth, that's when Qabil and Habil, one of them killed each other. He didn't know how to bury his brother. You understand? Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sent, what is it called in English? Crow, yeah.
Crow.
So he sent a crow to, subhanallah, to kill another crow and or see another crow dead, and take his body and, bury him underground, under the sand.
Mm-hmm.
So the Qabil or Habil, I don't remember, the killer, he said, subhanallah, he said, can't I be just like this crow and learn how to, is this crow going to teach me how to bury my brother? This is an animal.
Mm-hmm.
So subhanallah, look at it in this magnificent way. Subhanallah. So if he didn't see this experience from an animal, not from a human being,
Mm-hmm.
he would never have learned how to bury his brother.
Okay.
So this is the point. Back to your question. Of course, it's one knowledge. It's not different. You can never say it's different. If you said so, you're breaking the lines,
Mm-hmm.
right? We all know it. So you can't break the line and say, oh, it's different. It's not. It's the same. Because imagine, secularism, when did it even appear?
Sure.
200 years before? 300? 400? Where did they base their knowledge upon, from? Where did they get the basic knowledge they had?
Even develop those systems.
Exactly. From Islam. That's when when Islam, spread into the European, through Sham,
Mm-hmm.
through Turkey and
Spain.
the Al-Andalus,
Yeah.
Spain,
Spain,
which is,
yeah, Spain.
North Morocco, which is where I'm from, so.
All right. Those
Yeah,
are people that did it right.
right. So you have to get it back to the base. They never had anything a couple of hundred years before.
Mm-hmm.
So how come they say that, okay, we made this stuff.
Sure,
we
sure.
made the knowledge.
It's a very good point.
Yeah. So
Brother Hamid.
If there is to be a distinction between Islamic knowledge and secular knowledge, it will only be in regards to the sanctity and the sacredness of the Islamic knowledge over the secular knowledge. After that, I believe that they're both intertwined and they complement each other.
Okay. When you say sanctity, please qualify that.
Yani, is sacred is, in Quran and Sunnah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praise the scholars and those who seek this knowledge.
Mhm.
So it's pure. Whereas secular knowledge, science, for example, it can be true at times and it can be false. Like it's subject to fault. Whereas this knowledge is divine, so it's pure and it can never be wrong.
Okay.
So, they're intertwined because, for example, if you have a person who has a business background,
Mm-hmm.
he studied business, and then he also wants to study the Islamic sciences.
Mm-hmm.
That background, that deep understanding of business and accounting, it should help him, when he's studying books of hadith that, or books of fiqh that deal with buying and selling. You see where I'm going? Or if a person, an Islamic scholar who studied Islamic law, that background of fiqh should help him if he decided to go to a secular institution and study secular law, because they're all intertwined, they're from the same cloth. He will have a background, and so it gives him a comprehensive approach to that specific field.
Interesting. Interesting. Brother Idris?
Yeah, for me, I would sort of say a little bit maybe different. I think it's one and the same.
Okay.
It's ilm is of course can be categorized as not being acquiring it, and your use of it is the same. It of itself is different, of course. Science is not math. Math is not languages. they're all qualified in different things,
Okay.
but the acquiring of it, I think, is one and kettle of the same, in the sense of it all boils down to your niyyah,
Interesting.
your intentions. If my intentions are to learn something for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to use it for His pleasure, khalas, it could be learning how to make this pen, and this, in my opinion, would be, this type of knowledge that's beneficial. There's a hadith about this, where the Prophet ﷺ said that, he made dua against knowledge that doesn't benefit anyone.
Sure.
This is paraphrasing the hadith, of course,
Okay.
a little longer than that. So I think it all boils down to your intention, and I think it's intertwined. I don't think there really is a distinction that should be made. But I do think that it should be noted that you need to learn religious knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of the things you can't leave out. You may, depending on your circumstances, leave out secular knowledge and be okay. Depending on maybe if my family's wealthy, I mean, I still would say learn it, but I'm saying, but you might end up being okay. But if you leave off your deen and seek the secular knowledge, the reverse, you probably won't be okay, unless Allah guides you
Okay.
and helps you, because the deen is what's going to help you in the akhirah.
So you're saying there is a distinction between the deen and secular knowledge, is what
In
you're
the
saying?
sense of your intentions, and also in the sense of the deen is mandatory.
Mhm.
You can't not know how to pray and say,
Okay.
I just didn't learn, sorry.
So that's a
But
category.
you're a millionaire because you went to school or college and you're a businessman, but I never learned how to pray.
Fair enough. So we can make a category between that which is wajib,
Exactly.
with that which is obligatory to know, and that which is not obligatory to know.
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay.
Brother Yusuf, excuse me. I'd like to add something, because secularism, we have to go back to the definition of secularism. It's, the distinction between the state and the religion. Is that right? Am I right?
The separation between the state and religion.
Is that right?
Separation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not even allowable in Islam. You can't separate religion from your life.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And those guys who base this theory or implemented upon their lives, which is secularism,
Mhm.
they broke their own religion, because their own religion said, you have to rule by the 10 Commandments. Am I
Mhm.
right?
Sure, sure.
So,
And really, they say, like in the West, they say, I forgot the thing you say at the beginning of a ceremony, but they mention God, and in God we trust, and things like
Right.
this. So it's really,
it's in the dollar.
right, it's on the dollar. So it's really, they say it's a separation between church and state, but there are underlining themes within,
It's only
The
a separation of
cultural.
convenience.
sure.
Right.
When they want it to be
Yeah,
separate, it is. But
exactly.
when they don't really care, so it's a basic. It's not really necessarily. It's the illusion of.
Yes, the loot, exactly.
It's not really a true democracy. It's not really a true secularism, according to the letter of what
Precisely.
the underlying elements of what make it. But that's for another show in itself.
Yeah.
That's a whole other
Another
topic.
topic,
So-
Yeah. Brother Mahmoud.
I guess the separation between the religious knowledge and the secular knowledge, this is the root of all the problems in our country.
Okay.
They treat religion, our religion, as a subject in a school which has no grades. So students don't care about religion. They don't study religion. They think that this is not important. They focus on the main subjects, which bring them more grades. So this can be casted. They don't care about this. And this is the biggest problem. You find some students, they are brilliant students, and they can't pray. They don't know how to say it. They don't know how to make this ablution. They have problems, But I think knowledge is not related just to secular or religious. I think both complete each other. I think our Islam has emphasized repeatedly on the seeking of knowledge, whether this knowledge religious or even secular. Both are very important and beneficial for our life. You can't separate this from this. For example, you're an accountant. Okay, that's cool. But you don't know how to pray. How come? This is a problem. So you should know how, you should combine this religious side to this secular life. And I don't think this secular, can stand alone.
Yeah, just to add something, not to cut you off, but
Yes.
you said something very important. You're an accountant, you don't know how to pray. And even worse, you're an accountant, but you don't know what riba is.
Yeah.
You're just, okay, so this is part of your deen, this is part of your
Yes.
everyday life.
Yeah.
It's intertwined, you have to know. If you're a doctor, but you don't know what's haram, what's halal,
Yes.
I'll just prescribe anything for you. You don't know what, these are important things that will, like he said earlier also, knowing these things complement you and make you a better what you are. Knowing Islamic finance will make you a better what? Accountant.
Sure.
Let me just add on to what he said. He emphasized on the importance of secular knowledge and Islamic knowledge.
Right.
And inside Surah Iqra, Allah said, "Iqra wa rabbuka al-akram, alladhi 'allama bil qalam." He taught through the pen. A lot of the scholars of tafsir said he taught to the pen is secular knowledge. 'Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. He taught man what he knew not. That is the sacred knowledge that we're talking about, the Islamic knowledge.
Excellent. That's perfect.
It both.
I want to emphasize also on a point, which is so important. From hadith, I want to quote hadith of our Prophet Muhammad. If a man dies, peace be upon him, if a man dies, all his actions come to an end, except for three. First, everlasting charity. Second, knowledge by which people can benefit from it, or a pious son which can who can pray for him.
Or daughter.
So this knowledge, is everlasting. So even after death, still your knowledge can give you benefits and can give you blessings. So this is part of our life, I think.
Just to add one last thing, even scarier than that, there's a hadith that talks about the man who will be standing and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for judgment, and he'll be asked about, I think, 5 things or 4 or 5 things. And one of the things he'll be asked about is his knowledge. How did you use it? Are you going to say, I didn't have any knowledge? Is that the answer you want to give? And I didn't use any? I was an idiot? I did whatever my Hawa told me to do? So knowledge is very important.
Sure.
But if it is used for the progress of our life, for the benefit of people, not, for example, mass destruction weapons. This is technology. This is something advancement. Something advanced of technology. But this is using knowledge in a bad way here to destroy the world. In this case here, knowledge can be, what can I say, a double-edged weapon. So we try to use this knowledge for the sake of God, for helping others, not to destroy our lives, I think.
Even this, if someone have a knowledge and he didn't share it with others, he'd be a sinner. I mean, Allah would make him accountable for his knowledge that he prevented from people. So you have to share your knowledge with people, because you're going to be accountable for that. Whether it was religiously or secularly.
Sure. I think that Islam, since Islam, some people would look at Islam as a religion, right? But we all know that Islam is what? A way of life.
Right.
So when you look at the way of life, there can't be a distinction between secular or religious knowledge, because Islam encompasses all. If a person is a business person, you should know the arkan of how to do business, having good akhlaq, not cheating people, how to utilize this business as a way to bring people nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There were people in certain parts of the world that never received Islam, but they just saw the business etiquette of other people and said, I don't know what they're practicing, what they believe in, but I want to be just like them. The knowledge of psychology, understanding the human mind. You find the things that are already in the Quran, that Allah talks about how people behave. Their behavior, their characteristics, deep, insightful things about human characteristics that people are still unraveling, that scientists are still unraveling at Harvard University. We had 1,400 years ago, the social sciences, the way people behave in social environments. So many things that you can find within the Quran. It can be translated into secular knowledge. It can be found within the mathematics. You can use any means to get you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of our imams, Imam Farid, he always gives like a talk on Hajj. He's like a brilliant mathematician. He adds up all the numbers of the barakah that you can get on Hajj, right? It's amazing. He talks about if you make salah in the masjid, this is the amount of 100,000 barakah for the 5 times this. And if you do this, you get this 100, and it adds up to like millions of barakah. But he does it in his mind. And he said this is just the bare minimum that you can get. Of course, Allah Ta'ala can increase it. So anything can be used as a vehicle to get to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So I think when you think of the world in that way, that everything was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it's an ayah. Anything you see can be an ayah. Exactly. Any study, any lesson could be used, this takes me back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I think that, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of this comes from the idea of the connotations from the West. Their way of thinking of things is different than the way the Muslims used to think of it. Like deen, the translation religion. It doesn't do it justice.
Sure.
Ilm, education, or knowledge. It doesn't do it justice. So these connotations are sort of messing up what it really means, the essence of deen, really means to people. They think religion, like in the West, they just want to make it short and make it personal. It's not just personal.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, I have a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that's the purpose of true education." And we're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back to continue this very pertinent discussion. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Go ahead, Ya Shu'aib. Recite from ayah number 16 to 26.
Yeah, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد.
المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد.
جاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد ونفخ في الصور ذلك يوم الوعيد وجاءت كل نفس معها سائق وشهيد لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا فكشفنا عنك غطاءك فبصرك اليوم حديد.
Now that we know more about da'wah, what would you say are the characteristics of a da'i?
Sincerity.
Sincerity. Yes?
Good relation with Allah.
Good relation with Allah.
Okay. Patience.
Yes, sir?
Good manners.
Good manners. And there is much more to that. Join us in our program, the Da'wah Workshop, by your brother, Dr. Rayyan Fawzi Arab, so that we could talk more about Da'wah exclusively on Huda TV.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to another episode of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma, and today we're talking about the importance of education. As we know, education is not a preparation for life. Education is life itself. Now we want to go to Brother Yasir and bring the next question. What are some of the benefits or the merits of seeking knowledge, i.e. spiritually, financially, socially? What are some of the fruit that can be gained from the pursuit of education?
Well, this is a very broad question. You can, because it's general, pretty general. I mean, it goes financially, economically. Financially is economically, of course. You know, socially. You know, even military. You know, every single category that you have in life would education would benefit you. You know, of. So. Like for instance, Imam al-Bukhari, you know, he was from a country so far from the. You know, we have a saying here. It's a quote in the Arab world. You know, we say, you know, اطلبوا العلم ولو في الصين. I mean, you know, go ask for knowledge or education, even if it's in China. You know, so you have to travel. You have to go far for it. You have to struggle to gain knowledge. So Imam al-Bukhari, you know, he struggled. And you know, he went to so many countries, so many people. He met almost everyone who had knowledge. If he heard about a man who has knowledge in some country, he'd just drop everything and just go straight to him, you know, subhanAllah. And he'd write everything down. And then, you know, right now, Al-Imam al-Bukhari, you know, like, come on, you all know him. So this is one of the benefits, of course, you know. So you have your hasanat to be multiplied, and, you know, it'll never go away. Just like Brother Muhammad just said, you know, in a hadith, that Allah will ask you about it. So instead of asking you about it and you say, I didn't do anything with my knowledge, how about you say, well, I passed my knowledge to 1 million people, you know, and they benefited from. Of course, it has to be a useful knowledge that goes by your religion, because, you know, whoever makes, like, man sanna sunnatan hasana, you know, it'll be good. If it's bad deed, you'll take the you know, what is it called?
Consequences.
The consequences for, like, anyone else who does this wrong deed, you would be accountable for him. So you're in charge for everyone else, you know. So you have to be very smart with this knowledge that you have.
Excellent, Brother Hamid.
Yeah. Some of the merits of seeking knowledge, as mentioned in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that the angels, ﷺ, you know, the angels with their huge wings, that in any other case, those wings can do damage. It can destroy a nation. It can destroy whatever Allah commands it to do. Those wings can do that. But in terms of those students of knowledge, when they're going to the destination of learning, the angels, they humble themselves and they spread out their wings on the earth so those students can walk on it to that destination. So that's just so beautiful to me. And in terms of, you know, spirituality, some of the benefits you can get from seeking knowledge is that it brings you closer to Allah. It increases your iman, your taqwa, your fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And more eloquent than this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He Himself, He said, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ, that only those who know, only those who have knowledge of Allah fear Him the most. And the word utilized here was innama, which in Arabic, you're the Arabic speaker, is adat hasr. It's a mechanism in speech used to confine whatever comes after it. So it's as if the statement is saying that no one else truly fears Allah except those who have knowledge.
Because they know what Allah can do, you know. They know the secrets. Like
Exactly.
Understand me? I remember this incident, you know, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, you know, the moon, انشق القمر, you know, the moon has split. Scientists until nowadays, they can't break it through. They say, I mean, scientifically, it's not, they can't prove it. But theoretically, yes, it's possible, right? I mean.
SubhanAllah. Brother Idris.
I'll keep it short because I know we're about to end. I think ultimately, outside of the you know, the benefits that you might experience in this life, is ultimate reward is Jannah for those who seek ilm with the correct niyyah, with the correct intention. Whoever seeks knowledge or education with the right intention, Allah will reward you with the Jannah, inshallah. So, I mean, there's many hadiths about this, and talking about the, you know, the person who does this. In Surah Zumar, Allah says, are those equal, those who know and those who do not know? Allah's making a distinction between the two. They're not equal.
No, absolutely not.
So I mean, the reward is testament to how Allah words the importance of it. So it's a great reward, and the reward that you get in this life will be dwarfed by that which you will get in the next life if you keep your intentions pure. So.
Okay, Brother Mahmoud.
generally speaking, people who are educated are not subject to be fooled or cheated by those people who are con men. So they may not have to sign false papers or documents, or maybe deprived of some of their rights. People who are educated, they get better jobs. They are promoted all the time. They get respected from others. And even being educated or seeking knowledge opens a lot of doors for you in the world. So it gives you more chances, and also it helps you for the economic prosperity, and it helps you to be a useful member of the society. And it also gives you lots of things, like makes you feel special, makes you feel confident, successful, and overall to be a resourceful person and to help others.
Yeah, I have a mentor of mine. He always tells me, Yusuf, information changes situations. Right, always telling me that, and he uses some examples. He said, that, God forbid, if a man breaks into your home, right, and you don't have anything to use to defend yourself, right, all you have is your hands. What's the difference between a martial artist and you? The martial artist has knowledge. He has the same bone ligaments, same muscles or whatever. He may be the same height. Only separation between you and him is knowledge. If you're in a boat and somebody throws you overboard, right? The only thing that distinguishes the two of you is your knowledge of swimming. If a person has a knowledge of how to make a certain craft or something like this. I was with my cousin Hamid. We were in Aswan, and I was thinking about a man who makes clothing out of his hands. You could put him literally anywhere on earth, and he will be able to provide for himself if you have knowledge. Something simple as education can change your situation always. Versus a person who doesn't know, you'll always be a person losing, always person less. But by simply not knowing, by simply not opening a book and learning something, you will lose many benefits and the values of life.
Just to add one thing real quick before we go, is that this knowledge gives you the ability to give who's the most important thing you can give it their rights.
Allah.
Allah.
Definitely.
Having knowledge of Allah and this deen allows you to give the most important thing in your life ever, His rights. Without it, you may not give him his rights, which you see a lot of people doing. So.
Yeah, definitely. And the last example I was going to say is that this knowledge, having knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may free you from committing shirk.
Right.
Because we talk so much. You may say something that's shirk and not know, or do something that's shirk and may not know. So that's the most important thing, which is to preserve the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the next question I want to go to, we know that anything that has blessings or anything that has value, it doesn't come without pain and difficulty. So we're going to talk about, Brother Yasser, what are some of the difficulties that come along with the pursuit of education? You pursuing your master's right now, I know that you know the difficulty of the pursuit of education, of the pursuit of knowledge.
Well, just like it is written in any gym, no pain, no gain.
Exactly.
So, there has to be some pain for some gain. So you have to work hard for your goals, set your goals straight. Set your priorities straight, and work on them. Don't let anyone bring you down, and you have to pursue them. Pursue knowledge, even if it's in China and you were in America, go to China and do your thing. Just handle your business and do it in the best way that you can, because Subhanallah, علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. And Subhanallah, Allah, He created a lot of animals. ويخلق ما لا تعلمون. And there's other stuff that you don't even know about until now. With all this science that we have nowadays, technology and stuff. So yes, I you have to whether it was master's, bachelor, primary school, don't get distracted from your religious teaching, because it might distract you. That's what I'd say. If it was business, economics, whatever your major was, don't let it get into you and distract you from deen, from learning deen, because that's your priority, and don't get distracted. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Brother Hamid?
Some of the hardships that one can experience on the path of knowledge, just be prepared to be out of your comfort zone. Everything that our soul likes, you have to sacrifice that for the knowledge. We like to sleep, but when you want to become a scholar, when you want to be a student of knowledge, you have to sacrifice sleep. Like there's an Arabic proverb that says, whoever commits to the pillow leadership passes him by. So you're sleeping while your classmate, he's up reviewing, going over notes, putting in work. You know, you have to go that extra mile to, you know, achieve your end goal. That's what I have to say. Just go in that extra mile, and you have to be patient too. You have to be patient. Knowledge is not just going to come like that. It's going to take years, and matter of fact, it's your whole life actually. You'll never stop being a student of knowledge, Yani.
Yeah, it was Aristotle that said that the roots of education are bitter, but the fruits are sweet. All right, so it's bitter having to wake up, having to go to your classes, having to memorize text, writing text, even having to leave your homeland, like some of us here in Egypt, leaving your place of comfort, leaving your family, and going to different lands seeking knowledge. Literally, if you have to go to China and get the knowledge, there's a hadith that's often attributed to the Prophet ﷺ. I'm not sure of its authenticity, but it's a true statement that knowledge is the property of the lost property of the believer. Wherever you find it, you should take it. So, you know, just that concept of always seeking knowledge, but it's a difficulty. Difficulty financially, difficulty in terms of your relationship with your peers. Sometimes it causes a strange relationship. There was the wife of I believe one of the scholars. She said that those 3 books that you have are harder on me than 3 wives. I would prefer for you to have 3 wives than to have those books that you have, because you give me no time. You give me, it's just all your focus is on your books. So, you know, alhamdulillah, that's some of the difficulties of seeking knowledge. Brother Idris?
Yeah, I would say, just to add a different aspect, because we all know the difficulties come physically and the worldly difficulties. That another difficulty comes, especially for the students of knowledge, is that you're going to be put in compromising situations that's going to test you in your deen, especially students in the deen. You're going to be put in situations where you are going to have istiqamah, or you're going to fail and be of those who knowledge didn't benefit them. They use it for whatever they want, but it didn't benefit them. And this happens a lot today, especially a lot today. You find lots of students of knowledge who spent years and years in Azhar and other schools, and when the time comes for them to stick up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what they know to be the haqq, they fold. Or they make an excuse. And they know in their heart that this isn't what really it shouldn't be, but they can't face the reality of that maybe if I speak up and say what's truth, I'm going to be harmed by certain authorities, or people might even not want to talk to me. Your family might say, oh, he's crazy, don't want to talk to him. Instead of sticking up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sticking and having istiqamah, they easily fold for the pressures of the world.
So we're talking about the responsibility of
exactly,
knowledge once you have it.
It's not an easy task, and I always tell people, if you're going to be a teacher, be prepared to be chastised. I mean, look at the prophets of Allah. Did they have it easy, propagating this deen? No. Do you think it's going to be easy that you can just go study this deen and then, alhamdulillah, I'm going to drink some mango juice and life is going to be easy for you? Yeah. You're going to face troubles. You will. And just prepare yourself now that, you know what, this is the path that's going to go, and inshallah, give me the strength to face whatever he puts in front of me and have the right response.
SubhanAllah, it's very, very pertinent. You know, they have the quote that says, ignorance is bliss in certain ways, situations, right? If a person doesn't know, well, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But when you have the knowledge of a certain thing, you're accountable, you're responsible for that, and Allah Ta'ala will hold you to account, and the people that you don't teach or do not teach.
There's very few instances where not acting on your knowledge is okay for a student of knowledge or a scholar. Very few instances. And usually when they're using it is not for that instance, but they're trying to tell themselves that it is. But Allah is going to hold them accountable for that. That wasn't an excuse for you. You should have stood up. Because you did this, you led many people astray. When you're in a position of teaching and giving people things, you have to be careful. Because like the brother said, you're the one who's going to be held accountable for how you send them off, what you give them. It isn't something that you can just take lightly and say, well, I think I'll just shut up and not say anything. Then that person may take the wrong understanding and go off and, I think he means this and I'm going to go kill everybody. You should have spoke up and told him, no, it's not like that.
Yeah, but if you don't know, you'd say, I don't know. It's not
a
problem.
That's it.
Part of knowledge.
But that's part of saying. You spoke up. You didn't just...
Yeah, a part of knowledge is knowing what you don't know.
Right.
All right. That's one of the first steps of attaining knowledge. Say, I don't know this. I know I don't know this. This is where I can increase at. I remember when I was a kid, I used to fast on Ramadan. And I used to think that you can eat up until the sun rises, right? Not Fajr, right? So I'll be stuffing myself, eating all I could. And then one of my teachers told me, no, when Salat al-Fajr comes, you have to stop eating. I'm like, oh man, knowledge. Now I have to act upon that. You know?
Yeah, same for me. When I first became Muslim, I didn't know about fasting. I had came from overseas. I took my shahada in Somalia. And I came back, me and a friend of mine, we didn't know anything. I didn't have anyone to teach me. So when Ramadan came, we were fasting. We thought fasting meant not eating food. Coming from a Christian background, we thought, okay, not eating food, like, you know, like Lent and stuff like this. So we would drink water, liters of water. It'd be like, this fasting stuff is so easy, mashallah. And then come to later we found out, oh, that's not really fasting. We had to change. We saw how really difficult it really was. But when you don't know, life is different.
Before I give my advice, I just want to tell something. I can say knowledge is the movement from darkness of ignorance to the light of life. Because this episode of moving from this darkness into light feels that you get this physical satisfaction and this spiritual satisfaction, and you seek gratification. As some advice, I want to give my students some advice for learning. First, don't be afraid or shy to make mistakes. Some people have problem when they make mistakes. They feel shy or embarrassed, so they don't want to talk. They don't want to make anything. So don't feel shy or don't be embarrassed. Be brave. Be patient. You don't have to feel like, for example, learning English will take 3 months and I will be fine. No, it takes time. It needs practicing, and it needs also someone who is determined. He has a will of determination. He wants to learn, and he seeks knowledge wherever it was. No problem. And overall, of course, get closer to Allah. Never forget to pray, because some people, when they think about secular learning, they don't care about religious learning. We need to combine them together. This is one whole thing. Makes life better and easier.
And if someone gave you a piece of information, you have to make sure it's true. You know, it's valid. You don't just act upon it. You know, you go back
one
to
last
Sunnah.
thing. I know you're about to tell us.
No, you have your time.
Okay, I thought you were going to tell us. But he just brought up something that I think is amazing, and I want us to, inshallah, go home and look at it and research it more. Is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran refers to ilm as nur many times. He gives the analogy as the ilm as nur. And also, here's the funny part. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also refers to nur as himself, as the ultimate nur. So this relationship is something that deserves more looking into in the books from the Mufassirin, and exactly how this relationship plays about in the Quran.
Excellent. So this is, inshallah, how we're going to close the discussion out, with giving nasiha to the person that's seeking knowledge and the person that is still waiting in the wing, right, that wants to seek knowledge. What are some advices that we can give, some real-time advices that we can give to this person? Since we've already went from Brother Mahmoud, we're going to go to Idris, and then we're going to go this way, inshallah.
My advice would be, first of all, remain patient, because everything will be thrown at you on your way, and I've seen it, and it's still going on because I'm doing things now that there's always obstacles being thrown at your way. Remain patient, and know that the hadith says that if Allah wants to do good to a person, He makes him comprehend his religion. So if Allah wants good for you, He'll help you in your pursuit of knowledge of the deen. And be patient, and do your part. If you do this, inshallah, things will work out for you.
Inshallah ta'ala. Okay, Brother Yasser.
I used to waste 6 hours a day, every day, going and coming back and forth to school, here in Egypt and in India as well. Sometimes you'll face troubles, you face trials, especially when you learn religion, when you learn your deen. Allah will send you a trial or a tribulation to test you out. Are you going to stick to them, or back up and stick to the secular or the financials in life, and all these stuff. So stay true and real, stick to your deen, and that's it, inshallah. Compare everything that you learn with your deen. I mean, don't be a lawyer and then go make a criminal an innocent guy, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to say.
Okay, Brother Hamid.
Some advice I would give to myself foremost, and fellow seekers of knowledge and people looking to embark on this journey, is that of sincerity. Because at the end of the day, seeking knowledge is an act of worship. And like any other act of worship, it requires sincerity. So without sincerity, you jeopardize it being accepted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, I would also like to advise students of knowledge, those seeking this sacred knowledge, to try your best to avoid sins, because sins, it takes away the blessings of the knowledge, and it also prevents you from reaching a certain level. And we all know the famous story of Imam Shafi with his teacher. He complained to his teacher that he can't memorize the way he used to memorize. And his teacher told him that this knowledge is from light, and it's the light of Allah, and Allah doesn't give this light to those who disobey Him. And also Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said that, I perceive that a man forgets knowledge that he learned due to certain sins that he commit. So we're all human beings, we're going to commit sins no matter what, but I feel like we should go that extra mile to try to avoid major sins and avoid sins as much as possible. And if we do fall into sin, which we eventually will, always rush back to Allah and istighfar.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's been such an excellent episode, very beneficial episode. Things I've learned myself in this episode. I ask Allah Ta'ala to bless you brothers. I want to thank my guests. We're going to culminate the show at this time. And I just want to say as a last advice to people that are watching this episode is that knowledge is not something that's ascertained half-heartedly, that's ascertained by chance. It's something that needs to be sought vigorously day in and day out. You have to make it your business, make it your livelihood to seek knowledge. To get up in the morning, you're thinking about knowledge, and those times when it gets rough, when it gets difficult, you think, how bad do I want it? Well, and if specifically, if there's understanding knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everybody is not going to be a mufti, everybody is not going to be an alim, but everyone should know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. Everyone should know how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone should know what's the purpose of this life. And these are things that we all should know, and Allah Ta'ala made it easy for us. So make it your business to get closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Make it your business to know who Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was, what his purpose was, why he came, and what is our responsibility in relationship to him. As he said that I have not come to leave behind any inheritance as in gold, as in money, but I do leave behind my Quran and my Sunnah. It's a blessing to have you. Until next time, I'm your host, Yusuf Korma. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah. I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah, your mercy is great.